Okay, let's get started. Welcome to this month's Filr monthly update call. My name's Robin Redgrave. I'm based in the UK, and we've got quite a few people behind the scenes today who will take us through one of the new features that we've got coming up in the 24.3 release, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. But before we do that, just to let you know that we've got the TTP in the US coming up next month. This is a 7-day event that's taking place at the weekend. We've got some workshops going on. There's a Filr one that I'm running there. Then during the week, we have normal 1 hour, 45-minute sessions going through various technical things on a number of different products, but some of them are Filr. So on the workshop side, we've got what to do after installing Filr. That's just going to be a half-day workshop. And then I've got a full day that I'm doing on securing your Filr environment. So how to tighten up your environment and little tips and tricks to make it a little bit more secure than it may be at the moment already. And then as far as the sessions are concerned, we've got a number of sessions that involve Filr. So a bit about Filr reporting and how to write your own reports using SQL and get that information out. And we'll go through what the databases are and what tables there are there and the sort of queries you can write. Roadmap, we're going to cover how to move from a small to a large clustered implementation as well. I know a lot of you have just a single server because it started out as a proof of concept and evolved from there. But it really is quite a simple process to move to a large clustered environment, which obviously then gives you high availability, scalability, and so on. So we'll cover that. We'll also have a look at LDAP with Filr and some tips and tricks around that, and also how to customize the look and feel of Filr and the web interface and other bits and pieces there. I'll put the registration link in the chat window once I've passed over control to the others. And if you're interested, it is free. You just need to get yourself there and pay for your accommodation and so on, but the actual event is free. So do consider turning up for that there. As far as the agenda is concerned, we're going to have a release update, and unfortunately Girish is away on holiday today, so we've got Gigi is going to take us through, just give us a brief update of where we are on releases, and then we'll have a look at this new feature in 24.3 with the external LDAP users, which really is something that quite a few of you have been asking for, because you already have your customers or your partners you're working with logging into web portals and so on. They're using one LDAP directory, and of course in Filr they have to re-register, reset their password, and have a totally separate password and identity really than your other systems. So this will let them use that same credentials they use for your other systems within Filr as well. And then if we've got time at the end, we'll just do a Q&A session, general Q&A session there. So Gigi, I need to give remote control to Chandru, do I?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. He is now the presenter. So hopefully you've got that option.
Not yet.
Let me try again. No, you're definitely a presenter.
Okay. You're able
You
to
should
see
have the
anything?
option to share down at the bottom.
Trying that.
Yep, I can see something coming up there. Okay, there we go. So I can see your screen. Anyway, Gigi, what have we got coming up on the product side? I guess that we've got 24.3 is coming out next month in July.
That's right, Robin. So with the current release more pattern, it is easy to call it now. We had the 24.2 release. Upcoming one is 24.3, and the next one would be 24.4. We'll stop the counting there and then restart with 25.1. So for 24.3, I'm just sharing what is being cooked here. As Robin has already mentioned, it would be external user support from the LDAP sources. Then we have some other updates as well. HTML renderer is being updated. We are moving to the latest of the key view. You should see whatever features the key view has updated, brought into here as well. The other updates which we have is for the edit online. You will have the latest of the content editor. You're working on that to get the latest one. So along with that, you have multiple other features which are being upgraded. Now, there was a ask for VA share and VA storage on the OES safe side to be supported. We are going to officially claim the support on that. The work is in progress, is getting tested, and then we will claim the support for this particular release. Our regular updates, the security updates, and any other currency updates is ongoing process, and then you will have the latest updated tech stack, whichever we use. Some of them, if I have to mention, it would be SLE SLES updates, Tomcat updates, or any other technology stack which you are using. Where possible, we are going to update that. This is a quick checklist of what is being cooked. Robin, so for 24.3, as you mentioned, it would be the July. So we don't have to, it's easy to confirm the month for us now with the new release pattern.
Okay, that's great. Only a few weeks to go. Can't wait.
Yeah, just a few more weeks to go. With that, we'll get started with the presentation and the demo. We have almost half of the pilot team here. I will not be able to introduce everyone. Whenever they join, whoever joins for the presentation, they will introduce themselves and get started with the presentation. Are we good to go, Robin?
You're in the big meeting room, are you there? With the whole team.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So back end for the actual support and the moral support, we have almost half of the pilot team here. And everybody is waving hands to you, Robin, and for the webinar participants.
Okay, great. But just one thing before we crack on, if you've got any questions, obviously do put them in the Q&A. That's available down, I think, in the 3 dots in the bottom right. Just one thing's come in from Kevin, just asking about the workshop schedule for the TTP. That's actually up on the website at the moment. So if you want to see what's going on, you've got the option there. If you go to the website, I'll pop that in the chat window now. So you've got the TTP website there. But just looks like on Saturday, you've got a ZenWorks one, an IDM one, upgrading to OES and management of OES with UMC. Oh, you've got me doing one with Ed on group-wise hints and tips and best practices. And then on Sunday, you've got the Filr, securing Filr environment, new features of IDM, leveraging, oh, that's on Wednesday, is leveraging JSON forms. Something else, I can't quite work out what it is. Security one, I think, by Vaslav. And then the installing Filr, having installed Filr, what next? So you've got those there. There may be others get added to it, but you've got those up there if you want to have a look, Kevin. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Let's track on, or maybe Rodney's just asked, maybe one from you, Gigi. Rodney's just asking, any update on fixing AORth integration? I know some customers have been having problems with, I think, being thrown out or something. Do you know anything about that one?
I suppose is one of the bugs which is being tracked.
Sorry, you're very quiet. Somebody there.
Can you hear me, Robin?
Yes, can hear you now.
Yeah. If it is one of the bugs which is being tracked, I think we are on the progress. It helps if you share the case number or the CP ID, whichever you know. We would be taking it further from here.
Okay, I'm sure Rodney will post that in the Q&A in a moment. Anyway, over to you, Chandru, or whoever's showing us, taking us through the LDAP side.
Thank you, Robin. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening to one and all present here. My name is Chandru Karnanidhi. I'm part of the Filr QA team, and I'm going to take it from here regarding the future external users from the LDAP shows. I will walk through about this feature overview, and I'll also show the demo on the web client, how it has been used. Okay, with that, I'll start this. Okay. So, okay, the feature is all about, it will give a provision to the Filr administrators to add the external users from the LDAP source. So till now, we use LDAP source for adding only the internal user. It's like by default, if you add any LDAP source into the Filr, it will be considered as internal only. So with this feature, we are providing an option for the administrator to select whether you are adding an external or internal user. So that is one thing. So that administrator will be able to specify this user creation type while doing the LDAP configuration. That is like when adding a LDAP, you will have a new field called user creation type, where you will select this LDAP is going to act as a internal or external users in the Filr. So if you add external users LDAP, then those users who are coming as a part of LDAP source will start behaving as external users. So they will have all the provisions which normal external users, which previously what Filr is giving, all the provisions will be there. Only difference is you don't need to send a registration link and they don't need to do a self-registrations. It is coming as a part of LDAP. So that's what the last point it says. The external users from the LDAP will not have to self-provision an account in the Filr. They will not have to create any account by self actually. So it is coming from the source, LDAP source. LDAP source, I mean, it is supported for both E directory as well as Active Directory. So this is a short introduction. Let me move to the next slide. Okay. So this slide, will talk about what is the current scenarios in the Filr, as many of you be aware, but still I'll go through the points. So the current scenarios are external users created through the invitations. Users will send invitations, share requests to the external user using the email ID. So They will register, they will use the link in that email and they will do a self-registration using the first name, last name, password details and all. And then after that, they will get access to the filer system. So invited user must perform a self-registration to access the file. And also they will get a login. So once they log in, they will able to see homepage and then the shared with me area where we will show what are the files they got shared and public space. And they will not get any reshare rights as external users. This slide talks about how the filer is currently working as till 24.2.1, which is out right now. So this more explains the current scenarios, and I'll move to the next one. So these are the different use cases we covered as a part of this feature actually. The environments that have identified the stores with the designated external users, external LDAP, you have identified these are the external users. I have it in my source, which is outside the filer. So you can just with one configuration, so you can bring all the external users into the filer system. So this will help import those users seamlessly without doing any self-registrations. For each users, actually, they are imported into the system as a bulk. So there is no additional workflow now of self-registration will be required. So if you use this option to add external sources using the LDAP source. So user information from the directory service will be honored in the filer. It will be work as similar to that of internal users. All the user information from the directory services will be honored. User information in the filer will be up to date with the directory services, and if there is any change in the directory services, and these user informations in the filer will get updated. And this point also is similar as with the internal users. So these are the different use cases that this external LDAP user story covers. So with that, I'll move to the next slide. So these are the different screenshots we captured. Again, we will, after showing some of the screenshots, we will again show the live demo of where these screens are, will show us an application, the screens things. So first screen is admin persona changes. So this is a screenshot of the LDAP server configurations. So the place where we add the new LDAP source into the system. So the new field which is named labeled as create user as. Previously this field was not there, and this field is newly added. By default, it will be of the internal users only. But if the user wants to add external users, they have an option to open the drop down and select the external users. So this is a drop down field with two values. One is the internal, which is a default value, and there is one more value, which is external user. So once the LDAP has been added into the configurations, this is an overview of list of LDAP which has been added. So there we have added one more new column called user creation type. Previously, it has only two, server URL and user DN. Now the user creation type is shown, and it will show what type of the LDAP configuration it is, whether it is internal or external. And next screen is a admin user screen. Once the users are getting imported into the filer as from the external LDAP source, we change the icon of this user to indicate that they are coming as a part of an external user from a LDAP. So this is the icon which is shown the red color here marked. So and it has a label called external user and the bracket from LDAP. So this icon is being used in the admin user section to differentiate between the internal and the external LDAP users. So I move to the next screen. Next is share dialog. So when you're sharing a file to another participants, and when you're going to the invite members tab, and this when you are entering a first name or last name or any email, when you start entering, this address book will get listed, and in there we will mark that user is an external LDAP users with a tag called external. So the tag means that this user is coming as a part of external LDAP. And for the internal user, it will remain same. There is no tag or no mention. It will behave as similar. This new tag is added only for the external users, external LDAP users. This is the invite managers tab. Let me go to the next screen. Once the sharing has been done, so we'll go to the manage shares. So there also we are differentiating whether this file or document is being shared with whom. And do these users names are listed. In that we are showing whether this is external tag, which represents that this is the external LDAP user. So let me move to the next screen. And the same kind of structural changes has been implemented in one of the other place called more detail span. And here is shared by me and shared by others in both areas. The same identification mark is given for those users to easily identify whether they are external or internal users. Okay, let me move. Okay. With that is being the last screen, I'll start my demo in the web client. Oh, Robin, can you confirm me? Are you able to see my file? Yeah, fine.
Yep, I can see the screen there.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just logged into the OnFiler environment using admin credential, and I'm directly going to the admin console and LDAP configuration. So I'm going to this add button, and I'm going to show this new field which has been added. Just create a user as a internal users. So this dropdown will give the user admins filer admins option to add this LDAP source as an internal or external. So that's one thing, and the remaining all remains same, which I don't want to talk about it. You have to give all the LDAP server details and select the directory type and this thing. So on two changes I want to mention here. Once you change this external users, there are two things is there. One is the filer account attribute should be a mail by default and it cannot be changed. So previously in filer, the external users will log in using their mail ID. So it is going to be same for the LDAP also, LDAP sources also. The users who have as their email ID, they will use that as a login attribute, filer account attribute. And one more changes is group option is not available for the external users. So when you select the external users, you cannot add a group for that. You can only have a users and there is no groups. So other things are remain same and you can add a users. And after, I'm not adding anything right now. So after that, here you are seeing the list of LDAPs which is added into the system. And here we have a differentiation of both internal and external. Same LDAP source can be added for both internal and external, provided that OU is different, that user OU is different. So this is on screen. Let me move to the next screen. User screen. So here I was talking, this is our another part I talked that users who are imported, the external users imported from the LDAP source will have this icon with the label external users from LDAP. And this is a previous icon which we have it for internal users from the LDAP. In the meantime, I want to show one more icon, just like a previously we had for external users who are self-registered. So who came in, they have this icon, this email icon, envelope icon, and it has a label as external users. So we'll have this three things. With that, I move over from the admin page. And I go to my files and I'll go to the share dialog page. So I'm going to share this document. I got the invite members page. So as like when you are entering a first name, last name of the internal user, like that, it's the same way will work for external users. I just type 3 letters of something, it will show all the related think of both external and internal, since it is showing most of the things but it is included, it will display both external and internal. Right now for this text, it has only the external user which is matching. So you can see all those users with the external tag in it. So when I select it, by default, I will not get an option to reshare options. This will work as existing. I can give a permission with the viewer editor rights, and all the other remain permissions are there. And I can go ahead and share it. In the meanwhile, I'll show this how after manage shared, how the manage share dialog will look like with which I already have shared with many different type of users. I'll log in with another user and I'll go to the manage shares. So here it is what it looked like. So it will show this internal user with a no tag and external users with the external tags. And the same tags is applicable for the local internal user also, which is a self-register. The external user also will have the same tag, external tag. So this is in the manage shared page. And after that, I go to the more details page. This is another one I shown in this screenshot during the presentations. The shared by me and shared by others. This is a place where we see this external tag for this external LDAP users. And this thing. And this external tag is applicable for the external self-registered users. So I'll just take a moment to show how the external LDAP users login screen will be there. I'll just log in with one of the external user. Okay. So once after login, they can able to see a home screen where they can download these clients and plugins. Next is a shared with me area where they will see the files which are shared by the other users, internal users. And if the write permission is given, for example, this file write permission is given, they can able to do a edit. If they are using advanced or power external licenses, they will get an option to do an edit online using the contributors, which is most right as the existing thing. So this is how the external LDAP's logins user persona will be there, which is quite similar with the local self-registered external users user persona. So with this, I have completed the demo of the external LDAP features in the web client and server. So
Okay, is the next demo coming from the same machine, or do I need to give someone else presentation rights?
Do you have any questions, Robin?
There is around this one question from Chris, and I suspect this is going to be something for the future. He's asking, is there a mechanism to integrate to Azure B2B or B2C users? And I know we're looking at bringing in Azure AD or Intra ID or whatever it's called now. But would that be something that we could do in the same time frame, or is that something we're even thinking of?
I'm sure we are certainly thinking of that and working towards it. I think it may be too early to comment about the timelines here, but in one of the Greece presentation, we had it listed in the upcoming slides.
Okay, so that'd be quite useful if we could get some of the Azure B2B stuff coming through there as external users. I think that is it on the questions around the external users for the moment. Some other questions for the end around general questions, but let's crack on with the next part of the demo.
Yeah, over to Sujaya.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, there's a bit of an echo there.
Okay, now. Hello? Hello?
Yeah. Oh, there is a bit of an echo coming through there. Somebody's still got a mic open, though I can't see there. Try.
Okay. I hope now there's no echo.
Is your mic up or your speaker out?
Hello?
Yeah, no echo now. Sorry, I need to remember to unmute myself after talking.
No worries. Hi, everyone. I'm Sujaya Pradhan from Filr team. And can you also give me access to share?
Yes, that's coming up now. Yeah, we go. I can see the mobile changes. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sujaya, and I'll be demoing the mobile client for the external LDAP feature for the mobile client. In the mobile client, when you right click on the share page, in the share page, we have the invite members, where on searching for a particular user, in this image, both Android and iOS screens are present, where for an external LDAP user, there'll be an external tag beside the name with the email below it. And once you click on it and you share it to the particular user, in the share listing also, there'll be an external tag besides the username. And that is for the managed shares. And even in the details page, when you click on more details on the on a file or a folder, there will be the external tag on the side of an external LDAP user or an internal LDAP user. With this, I'll show you the demo. Yeah. Okay. When you click on the drop down options, you click on share, and I'll search for some. So these are the external LDAP users. So besides them, there's this external tag. When you click on it, it will get listed here. And suppose even if there is some other user, like for instance, a long name user, suppose like this external user, you click on it and then there's an external tag. Going inside, there is the information, like the full email ID, and where you can go and give them access, editor rights, and then expires to something. Right now it's on after, and then you can save it. And then similarly, and then you can save this user. And once it is successfully shared to these two both users, the once it is shared, so it will list over here. Similarly, I have another user that is Android. This Android Automation 3 is an external user, and I will also again share it to an internal user. And then once you share it, it will successfully once it is successfully shared, it will be listed in the share list, and as well as it will be also present in the details page where the user can go and see what share rights and the expire rights they have given to the particular user. That is it. Any questions?
No questions really. Chris is just saying it be good if the mobile client's got a UI refresh. And are we planning that at some point, Gigi?
I think it's a good input. We'll take it and pass it on to the PM, Robin. I'm sure that is on the cards.
Yeah,
Probably not on the top of the list.
Yeah, no, certainly I know that's something that we've been looking at in the past, so that's good. Okay, have we got another demo?
That would be Yashwant.
Okay, let me just make. There we go. You should have the presentation rights.
Hello, everyone.
Yep, that's just coming up now. And I can see Windows client changes.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Ashwant. I'm part of the piloting.
You're a little bit quiet there.
Okay. I hope it's
better.
loud and clear.
Speak loud.
I hope it's now loud and clear.
Yes, that's fine. Thanks.
I will be demoing the changes being done on the desktop client, which is Windows. As you see on the screen, that's the first screen, where if you go on the share page and where you list the users, if the user is external or LDAP or local external, you can see the tag, which is now added, which is a new thing. If it's internal, you don't see any tag added. So this is on the invite members page. Now, once you list and you select the user which you want to share, so when you click on the add, it will be listed down there with the plus symbol. That means which you added right now. Which if it's external user, you can see the tag. If it's internal user, you don't see any tag. Then you have the save option. Once you done with your changes like your access rights, expiry things, and then you have save option. You can click on that. Once the successful share is done, you can see this screen, which is manage shares, where you can see the to whom you have been shared. If it's external, you can see the tag. So this is all about those pages we have. Let me go ahead and give the live demo on the same. So I went ahead and opened the shares. Just kidding.
Share the window.
Yeah. Okay. As you see in the screen, it is a file share context menu. So on the listing, you can just search the users which you want to share. Let me go ahead and share list some of the users. So as you can see, when I type the Vijay, you can see the users. I think I'm seeing the 2 users which are external. So I can see the tag also, which is external. Let me go ahead and add 1 user. Just go ahead and add this. And let me add 1 more user. So Android Automation 1, which is not external user. So you don't see the tag external. And I can change their rights, and let me go ahead and save. So this is the manage share section, where previously I have shared the file to the Vijay1 and Android Automation 1, Vijay1, which is the external user. So you can see the tag here as well. And Android Automation 1, you don't see any tag, which is internal. So this is with respect to the manage share section. That's all I have. Any questions?
Robin, I think. Sorry about that echo. We're done with the presentation. Did we have any more questions?
No more questions around that coming through. There's some general questions we can go through. Is that the last of the demos?
That's right. We're done with that.
Okay, great. And you know what you've done there is great, and there are quite a few comments coming through with people saying that they like what's been seen, what they've seen there. So I can see some great advantages to that. Most probably just want to remind everyone that if you haven't got a LDAP directory for your 100,000 external users or customers that you've got, don't forget that with both GroupWise and OES, you do get an entitlement to 250,000 users for eDirectory to be used as authentication users. So if you wanted to, you can obviously use that entitlement that you've got with GroupWise and OES at no additional cost to provide an LDAP directory for those external users, should you need to. Anyway, let's just go on to cover some general Q&A questions that's coming through. Let's take one here from Kevin, who's just asking, are we going to do any updates on the Linux client? It's rather an old client we've got. It's supported on older versions of SLES, I think. But I'm not aware that we're looking at that at the moment. Gigi, do you have an update on that?
You're right. I think it's in the bottom of the list. We are not working right away on that. This release or the upcoming release as such. Further, I think we may have to get it noticed to product manager. It's in the bottom of the list.
Okay. There's also some questions coming through from some customers about having upgraded to 24.2.1, which I think came out only a few days ago, that they're getting a bit of a mailstorm with obviously mails that have not been sent, suddenly been sent somewhere. Is that something that we're aware of? And there are
I think
two customers that have in the Q&A have mentioned it.
yeah, sure. I see Vijay and John both are answering on that, and I think one of the answer clarified it also. It looks like unclogging, and then you have a flood of mails. Technically, probably that's how it works. If we'll try to see if we can give a workaround, quick workaround for the other customers who may face it.
Okay.
It may be have to do a workaround where we may have to tamper to the database and then do it, or certain configuration. We'll try to come back on that as early as possible.
Okay. Marcus was asking about the playlist for the recordings. I've posted that in the chat window. So if you want to have a look at the recordings, there's a playlist there. It's not very full at the moment. I think it's only got the one recording in there from last month, and it takes maybe up to a week for our media team to post it in that playlist, so don't be surprised if you don't see it immediately, but we've got the process set up now for those recordings to get up into YouTube. And so you can access them there. Okay, and I think I may have missed some questions, but I don't think so. Christian was asking about just commenting that the external LDAP users is very similar to what we've got in Vibe. And you're quite correct, Christian, except we've done a bit of work, obviously, in other clients and so on for that. But in essence, it's much the same as we had there. But hopefully it will be a useful tool to have in your bucket. Oh, just one thing there, Gigi, maybe you know, I suspect this is more a question for Girish. Is that going to be part of Filr Advanced, Filr Standard, or do you need the Power External User license for that to work?
This is the external LDAP user you're asking, isn't it?
Sorry, the external LDAP users, yes. Is that going to be part of Filr Advanced or Power External User?
It's for everyone.
Okay, so it comes with everything. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, somebody, I've lost it now, was asking about being able to reset the notifications on if you've accidentally clicked on the star next to a file. And there are, I think most probably there are ways that you could, and with the developers on here, let me tell you, never, never, never write anything to the database outside Filr. Having said that, I suspect there most probably is a SQL query you could run that would clear up those notifications. I'll have to have a look and see if I can work out what table there is. For those of you that are turning up to my reporting session at the TTP, we cover some things you can do there of writing stuff to the database to do various bits and pieces like reassign ownership and so on through the database en masse. If I work it out before then, I'll add that to my presentation of how to kill the notifications. Right. Christian's asking about, are external users allowed to use the iOS Filr mobile app? Last time I checked, Christian, which must have been a year or more ago, I could log in on the mobile app as an external user. But I'll give that a go, or drop me an email and just remind me, and I'll have a look and see if I can do that. And they can also use the desktop client, or they could when I checked a year or so ago. But obviously most external users are just going to be using the web client to access information rather than the others.
Robin, just to add to that, when Sujaya showed the screen, we had two screens, one for Android and one for iOS. We just choose to have only one demoed, but iOS supports these external users. Sure.
Yeah. Well, I think he was talking about external users trying to log in. I was guessing was what he was. Well, that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so
It's
I'll have to try it out, but they used to be able to in the old days. I'll have to try it out with the latest Filr release and iOS client, but I'll let you know. Okay, what other questions we got? I don't understand what Jorg is saying there about external users having a problem with email address. Maybe you can drop me an email, Jorg, and just explain a little bit more. I don't understand that one. Okay. Otherwise, I think that's it. If you've got any more questions, do ask quickly, and hopefully we'll see some of you at the TTP in the States. I know Kevin said that some of his team are going, so I think it was Kevin was saying, so hopefully we'll see them there, and they'll turn up to my sessions rather than somebody else's. It's always nice to have someone to talk to when you're presenting. I think it was Isaac Newton who used to present to an empty classroom when no one turned up at his lectures, but I haven't had to do that yet. Anyway, no more questions have come in, so let's call that quits for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for turning up, and especially to the team behind the scenes there who have been demonstrating what they've done and taking us through it. I think what we've got there is going to make a big difference for many of you who have external users in an existing LDAP directory, so that's great. Hopefully we'll see you next month, and we'll see you there, and see some of you at the TTP. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Hello, team. Thanks you all. Thank you. Have a good one.